and welcome to Fraud Busting Neofraus podcast. It is the only podcast for female fraud professionals and their allies who want to stay on top of the fraud awareness spectrum in order to thrive professionally while maximizing their happiness and having the courage to create the life they love. Thank you for listening.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to this new episode of the Fraud Busting New Fraus podcast. I'm Olga, and I'll be your host today. We have a special guest for this episode. This is Dalene Higgins, and she'll be expanding on the topic of management of personal finances and the importance of doing so. But before we jump into our conversation, I'd like to give Dalene a quick moment to introduce herself.
Yes,
Hi,
thank
Dalene.
you, Olga. I appreciate it. I'm Dalene Higgins with Elevate Finances, and I am a financial coach. And like you said, I help people manage their personal finances. So the focus really is the day-to-day money. And then obviously a financial planner will help them with their long-term investing. But it's so important to make sure that we have a handle of our day-to-day so that we can create those streams of income to go to futures. So, yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Dalene, for this quick introduction. It's definitely a very interesting and a very important topic also for anyone, I would say. So having said that, could you please tell us a little bit more about your story and about what exactly are you doing in order to help others?
Yes. So a year ago, I retired after 32 years at the age of 50. So having reached my financial dream, I wanted to help others reach their financial dream. And, not everybody has that dream to retire young or early. So it can be whatever. It was so exciting and such a huge accomplishment and a feeling that I want others to feel that same way. And I recognized at about the age of 35 that I did have that option to retire early if I had all my ducks in a row, because at the time of retirement, I took a 40% cut in pay. So that was, I was able to retire with a pension. So living on 60% of what I was making. And so I just got really focused and taught myself a lot about personal finances, which, basically how to budget better, how to save more, how to cut expenses that aren't serving me, right? We talk about, I don't know if you've heard of the latte factor, which is neither here nor there, but people are like, you can't get rich if you have a latte every day. Well, that's not my philosophy, but I do believe we need to get focused on, number one, what we value, and number two, what we enjoy. So when I work with clients, I always start at that point. I always help them get focused on what they're earning, what they're spending. And then if those don't match up, if they're, in the negative or whatever, we start talking about what is it that you absolutely love to spend your money on? Because I believe we should all have one frivolous expense, within reason as far as the cost.
Yeah.
And, we include that so that you can enjoy, number one, your money that you worked so hard for. And then number two, so all of the bills are being paid. And then you can work yourself to those goals that you have. Mm-hmm. And I think people get so focused on we're budgeting from paycheck to paycheck,
yeah,
or month to month, that we don't ever think about, 6 months from now, 5 years from now, and further and beyond. So I think it's, very important to start dreaming with your money. Mm-hmm. And I like to, have people think of when you were a child, or if you have a child, you've experienced that, or even a niece or a nephew, right? Mm-hmm. How they come up to you and they're like, I'm going to do this. And sometimes it seems so far-fetched. Mm-hmm. It's their imagination taking hold. And I believe we need to do that more with our money. so that then we can really dream what we want to do and get focused on where we're going instead of just, I think a lot of people are just existing, making money to pay the bills and creating more bills, but they're not, going, all right, this is what I am striving for, and all of those things. So I love helping individuals really get focused, really, going deep within themselves as to what do you want? What makes you happy? What do you see yourself, at the age of 80? And let's start there and work our way back to enjoyment. Especially if you have little kids, you're going to want to have experiences with them. And a lot of people, they're like, okay, my kids are in high school and we haven't gone on a family vacation. And so I've got to hurry and make one and, afford it. And it's like, okay, why is the rush? Why didn't you think about this when they were, 3, 4, 5, so you could plan? And things happen. I understand that, but I love helping people get really focused. And I believe budgeting is very powerful. And it's not restrictive, that it creates the power within us to do whatever we want. So
yeah, absolutely. And one of the things, perhaps part of this personal financial strategy is having a security, saving, because life is unpredictable. I know we can always have insurances here and there, but it's not a bad idea to also have security savings, right?
Yes, exactly. Being able to rely. I had a very expensive May. I had medical expenses and car repairs that cost me almost $10,000, but I had the savings. And so, being prepared, granted, it's not something I want to spend my money on. Nobody does, right? But having it there, having that ready and just go like, okay, it's not putting me further in debt. It's not taking away from my goals. I'm able to fill that bucket prior to having those things happen. So yeah, very important.
Let me ask you one more question regarding any possible advice of, let's say, personal financial strategy for women and people in general out there. What kind of strategic, planning or advice could you provide to the audience?
Yes. So, and mostly women are managing the finances in the household. I think the number was like 80% of women are tasked with the day-to-day expenses. And so being able to become an expert at that, at the level of expert for you, right? We all are at different levels and stuff. But for women, we can learn. We're smart, we're intelligent. I know we're busy, but we can take a moment to determine where we need to make a focus on. So number one, increase your financial knowledge, whether you're listening to podcasts or, reading blogs or reading books or, whatever it is, that medium that you can consume, even in small doses, right? So that you can increase your financial literacy. And then on that, you can take that and educate your children. So the second piece of advice I give is to talk with your children about money.
Sorry, I had to let my dog outside.
That's fine. So the second piece of advice I would give is to talk to your kids about money. Start teaching them about money so that they have, a one leg up as opposed to you. I know a lot of women have grown up with that money was bad, money was evil. So they don't want to have their kids have that same feeling. Well, you can change the dialogue there and just speak about money, not how it makes us feel, not that we don't have money. My mom was so good at it. She would say, we're going to have to wait to get that later, or, this is our priority with money right now, and we'll put that on the list. She never said we don't have money, because if you do say that to children, then they start to worry because they don't understand that full concept, right?
Yeah.
So, but shutting down and not talking about money with your kids, then they get to the age of 18 and they're like, what is this money thing? I was fortunate to coach my very first 14-year-old and 16-year-old. And I asked them both. So they were a brother and a sister, but I did it individually. And I asked them the question of, where does money come from? So the 16-year-old, he went to the fact of it comes from the mint. And I'm like, well, yes, it does. But how do you get the money? You know? And he's like, well, I work for it. And the 14-year-old, she's like, and I think she was ready to say mom and dad. And so, you know, really educating our children about working for money and whatever that style of working looks like is important. But that if you want more money, you don't have to work harder, but you need to work smarter. And so I think that all goes hand in hand. So I hope that helps your listeners and they gives them an action step.
Yeah, absolutely wonderful advice. Thank you so much. Yeah, I also hope that people would benefit from your advice and, you know, get a better idea about the financial management, the personal financial management, and not only that, but also helping children, you know, their children and anyone around them.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being this wonderful guest today. And thanks everyone for listening. Stay healthy and happy.